One person says something to another person on the internet behind a paywall. You get hurt. How is that possible? It's not. Unless you wanted to get hurt. Offense is taken always. Offense is one thing that is always taken. It can never be given. It's a choice. I've also been creating content on YouTube. A lot of people give me bad time in the comments. But that does not offend me because somebody told me very early in my YouTube career that you cannot stop people from throwing stones at your house. You can only make your house stronger. And that's what I do. What is my house? This. Anything that costs my peace of mind is too expensive. Words and actions do not really have an inherent offense. People put meaning to these words and actions based on their personal beliefs. For example, I'm sure the joke that we all are talking about, not everybody was offended. Some laughed at it and some got offended. Just because the percentage of people who got offended was not 100%, it means the joke itself was not offensive. Your personal beliefs, your personal interpretation made it offensive. It's your fault. Okay, now I know you'll say that there has to be a responsibility for content creators who have so much influence. Of course, the responsibility of an entertainer is to entertain, and the responsibility ends over there. Context, nuance. Okay, but let's really understand why do people take offense. Number one, personal identity. So for example, if you identify yourself as somebody, say a painter, and there is a statement made about painters in the world, you take it as a personal attack, and that might be the reason it sounds offensive to you. Okay, one. Number two, during our entire childhood, we were told that this is a certain way to do things and this is the wrong way to do something. And now we have grown up, we have realized that the world is not exactly same to same as it was described to us when we were children. So our social conditioning makes us think that any difference in the world should be offensive to us. Next, past experiences. It's a big one. So suppose there's one person who had very good childhood, and there's this another person who did not have a great childhood. And now there's a statement or a joke about childhood trauma. It's highly likely that this other person will take an offense because they have seen a different version of childhood versus this other person. And then finally, the third one, the big one is the desire to control. It's a power game. Who's really in power? The person who is in power or the victim with whom everybody sides with? It's a deep question. If you do not really have power, next best way to have a sense of power is to become a victim. Taking an offense is exactly that. Even sometimes we might realize or we might not. I'll give you an example. I've taken this comic book from XKCD. The link is right over here. There's a boy doing some math, and this boy is not doing the right math. So this person makes a comment, wow, you suck at math. Now there's a boy and a girl, and now this girl is not really doing really good math. This boy makes a generalized statement this time, wow, girls suck at math. It's wrong. But I'll tell you one more version of it. I have taken the liberty to make some slight tweaks to the comic book. Here's the boy and the girl. The boy says, wow, you suck at math. You as an individual suck at math. But the girl interprets as, you mean all girls suck at math? How dare you? What just happened? This girl identifies it's the representative of every girl in the world. So this personal remark, which was you personally as an individual suck at math, felt like a remark on every other girl, and that was offensive to this particular cartoon character. Now, of course, this one, it's wrong. It's wrong. Generalization is wrong. But this one, is it right? I mean, it's again wrong. Taking an offense is also a power game. I'll tell you, Nicholas Copernicus offended so many people. So many people. Because Copernicus said that Earth is not the center of the universe. Sun does not revolve around the Earth. In fact, Earth is the one which revolves around the sun. Whew. He offended everybody. Nicholas Copernicus' heliocentric theory. Heliocentric means helio means sun and centric means at the center. So sun is at the center. Theory which suggests sun is at the center. Offended the religious authorities of his time because it contradicted the Bible's teachings, personal beliefs. I'll tell you what people believed before it. This is the Earth-centric solar system model. Earth is at the center. Here's this Venus, and there are different orbits. Here's the sun. Sun is again orbiting. The orbits are not really orbits. They're spirals. Scientists of those times really painstakingly made these orbits, which look like spirals, by the way. And then came Nicholas Copernicus. He said, what if? What if you just take the sun and you put the sun in the middle of it? What happens to the orbit next? This happens. This happens. As soon as you put sun in the middle, every orbit just becomes circular, elliptical around the sun. Earth being one of it. This, which we now accepted as fact, was a statement that offended almost everybody in 1700s. What I'm trying to say is, offense means progress. It means there's somebody out there who is trying to push the envelope. And mind you, I'm talking about offense, not threat. I remember very good quote. It's a great quote by George Bernard Shaw. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. A reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable man persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. The unreasonable man. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. I didn't believe it. When I was growing up, I found this statement to be quite stupid. But now when I am grown up, I truly, faithfully stand behind this statement. If there were no unreasonable people, then there would be no progress. Because all human beings are just trying to adapt themselves to the world. So now we know that offending is actually making progress. And how do we become unoffendable? First of all, just ask, is it really harmful or just uncomfortable? Try to understand the context, the nuance, the intent of the situation. You cannot take a conversation happening in one context, see it in the light of another context and say, hey, it is wrong. Maybe in that context, it's fine. So one person saying something to another person on the internet behind a paywall, you had a choice, my friend, to pay, watch that content, laugh along the entire episode. Then comes one moment and you're like, oh my God, I really feel hurt about it. What should I do about it? Oh my God, maybe I should revolve around it. This is the biggest problem of 2025 in this world. This one episode. You cannot stop anybody from pelting stones at your house. You can only do one thing, which is to build a stronger house. Build emotional resilience, my friend. Taking an offense is a choice. The world does not revolve around you and your moral compass and your beliefs. No. We established just 5 minutes ago that Copernicus established that the world revolves around the sun. So, and you, my friend, are not sun. I'm sure this particular statement has offended somebody. Recognize that not everything is a personal attack. How can it be? How can it be? You are somebody who is watching, and as a YouTuber, I'll tell you, we do not get to see who is watching our content. All we get to see is some numbers. I mean, you're one of those 10 million people who watch that content. It was, I'm sure, not a personal attack. And you know what? The chain of offense can go forever. So for example, one person says something to another person, you get offended. Now your offense can offend them. So if you are offended, I'm sorry, my friend, but I'm offended too now. What do we do? It's an endless cycle. Yeah, Mahatma Gandhi is known for his non-violent philosophy of passive resistance. An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. An offense for an offense will make the whole world just stupid. It's an endless cycle which breaks only when one of us starts acting sensibly.